Welcome back to the Blissful Badger. When collecting disciples of Tzeentch, you end up with a box of pink horrors. And when you have a box of pink horrors, they can split into blue horrors and crimson horrors. Now, when you have a box of pink horrors, you need 2 boxes of blue and crimsons. Since I have 2 boxes of pinks, I needed 4 boxes of blue and crimson. So today, being that it's the 80th day of the year, and I have 80 models to paint, I figured I'd do it all in one day. One of the things I knew that would give me the best results when painting so many models in a single day was to have an ingredients list. So before I even started painting, I wrote down what parts of the models I needed to paint and which colors they needed to be. I didn't worry so much about order for the paints, but I needed to know which sections I was actually going to paint. So I knew I wanted the blue horrors to be blue and the crimson horrors to be yellow, but I also wanted them to match my pink horrors, so I actually made the pink horrors have blue flame, the blue horrors have crimson flame, and the crimson horrors have pink flame. I used hot glue to put the models on popsicle sticks. This was so that I could actually move them around and not get paint all over my fingers. Overall, it worked, but I might have packed them a little bit too tight. So the fun thing is, these 80 models do not actually count as any points for the list. They split off from the pink horrors, so they are actually baked into those points. Alternatively, you can have the pink horrors explode on death, but it really doesn't do anywhere near as much damage, or hold up the enemy units quite as much as new models entering the battlefield. With that in mind, and my plan to hit 1,000 points per army this year, and I have 1 unit of pink horrors already in the army, I figured it was time to paint all of the blue and crimson horrors. Even though I only had to paint half of them for the 1,000-point army list, I decided if I was going to go and build half of them, I might as well build all of them. And again, paint them all. So I decided a time-lapse would be amazing for this, and I recorded at 1 frame per half of a second, which means that this footage is sped up 15 times speed. I've done challenges before, like painting 1,000 points of orcs in a single month, but I had never tried to paint so many models in a single day. I made sure I had coffee on hand, and water, and plenty of items on my watch later. Having audio in the background definitely helps when painting so many models. didn't originally plan to have this done for the 80th day of the year, but after I had finally received the blue and crimson horrors, I realized it was an opportunity to do so, and it would be funny. I had waited for 3 months for my local gaming store to receive the blue horrors, and sadly they were not able to get them, and I had to purchase them online. I originally had planned to purchase them last year. Fun fact, it actually took me almost as long to build and clean these models as it did to paint them. So the blue horrors, just for the blue coat, took about 2.5 hours. I knew this was going to be the longest portion of the painting, but I didn't really know it was going to take that long. All of the little nooks and crannies and painting the arms inside out and around other details takes a little bit longer than you would actually expect. I finally finished the blue on the blue horrors and decided it was time to refill my coffee. For the crimson horrors, I knew that I wanted to paint them in a slightly different manner so that they had a cool blending effect. So the first color I put down was actually the pink. Having the flames down first means that when I put the crimson over it, it would blend better and create a cool effect that wasn't just two different colors hard set right up against each other. I also used a dark purple for the insides of the mouths on all of the pink, blue, and crimson horrors for that consistency. By now, I had a good idea of where I was in the paint schemes, and I realized I could finish off some models pretty quick. And completing something at this point, hours into the day of painting, had a really good feeling because I had finally accomplished something. Still had some more to go, but at least these were done. After 5 hours, I had a small meal and took the opportunity to plug my phone back in because it was down to 20% battery, and I wanted to film the next portion. It was a nice little break gave my eyes a little bit of time to rest, and then I got back to painting. My Disciples of Tzeentch army is going to have custom basing that I have not actually done yet. Once it is consistently warm outside, I will be able to start working on them. Expect that video sometime in the next 2 to 3 months. As I was finishing the blue horrors, I realized I still had nails that I needed to paint, so I grabbed the ivory and took care of that. All of the metallics also stayed bronze. That was a lot of painting for a single day. But I successfully did 80 models in 8 hours. It's just wild to think that a day ago, all of these were just primed and waiting to be painted. And today, they're just waiting to be based. 80 more painted minis for my Disciples of Tzeentch army. Such a cool day. Such a cool day. I'm exhausted. I hope you enjoyed the video. I definitely enjoyed making it. Subscribe if you haven't so that you don't miss any future videos. I also want to thank my patrons and supporters for making these videos possible. And until next time, I hope you find your bit of bliss.